I want to answer some questions I received regarding using the whole moving average columns on the Market Watch quotes page. The list that I have is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, just example given. Now, first off, let's get some understanding of what these two columns are trying to show. Well, that 10 is for the 10-day moving average, the H is for the whole moving average, and the C stands for counter. Counter meaning the number of days the moving average has been a certain color. So the red is going to be, in this case, a red moving average. The green background is a green moving average. What does it look like on the chart? If I pull this up and I looked at NVDA, you're now going to notice that the red moving average line, again, showing that the price is dropping, bears are in control. Green moving average, bulls in control. Why do we care? What are we trying to see from the list? Well, if I pull up, let's say, Market Watch, if someone says, look, I'm looking for, let's say, some stocks that might have just gone green in the last day on the Dow Jones, Apple, Walmart, Johnson and Johnson, right? 2 days ago, we actually saw Travelers. And you're going to see 2 days ago, we also saw Mickey D's. Now, that doesn't guarantee the stock's going to go up. It's just saying, hey, the moving average just recently turned. Now, if we said, well, which stocks, if I kind of flip this list, click on the column heading, it'll tell us which stocks have been up the most on a 10-period moving average. It's IBM. Okay, now, as you can probably imagine, the 20HC, remember, we use 10 for momentum, we use 20 for trend. If I click on, let's say, 20, same thing here, but just now looking at 20 days, same thing, counter as well. You're now going to notice that the numbers don't always line up. That's true because they're not the same duration of time. Now, if I pulled up example given again, that NVDA, you're now going to see that typically the 10-period moving average tends to be a day or two ahead of the 20-period moving average. Not always, but probably on average. Okay. And so what it's going to do is it's going to tell us the color of the moving average. It's going to tell us the duration of time on the 10 and the 20. Now, the question was brought in is, well, how could you customize this? Well, let's right click on the heading. You right click on the heading, we go down to edit formula. You're going to see that right there, edit formula. It's going to bring up this page. Now, first thing is, there's the column heading, 10 whole counter. You could change the duration of time to many different durations, whatever to your liking. Second, you could also go down to a different moving average type. You're going to see the moving average type is a whole moving average. But if you said, no, I really was not thinking about that. I was kind of thinking about maybe a simple moving average. It will actually give you that as well, give you a simple moving average. If you wanted, let's say, type in MOV or MOV, you're going to see that right there. There's the exponential. And if you also look at any others, those are probably going to be the main ones, the simple moving average, the exponential moving average. And then you could also go back and change the duration of the moving average that you might like. Okay, so that we had some questions on that. How do I adjust it? How do I change the duration? Now, the other thing I want to kind of remind you of is that column to the right, the MAX, the moving average crossover itself. Anything that actually has that green background means we crossed over today, meaning that the shorter term moving average crossed above the lagging, the 20-period moving average. X plus 1 a day ago, X plus 2 2 days ago. Don't forget that. Now, let's say, hey, James, I don't normally look at the Dow stocks. I was kind of looking to make my own list. Could I still use this really in a different list? Well, let's go to that. How do we actually bring up a list that we might want to look at? Well, just to the right-hand side, right above that last column there, you're going to see 3 lines. And if I click on the 3 lines, what you're now going to see is where it says create watch list. If I create a watch list, let's just call this list example. Okay, there it is, example. Now what we're going to do is, let's say we said, you know what? I want to type in example given AEM. I want to type in example given, let's say, I'll put one on here that maybe some of us might be looking at, Marvell. Let's say the investor says, James, I normally look at, let's say, a stock like Google, NEM, okay? Let's say you look at a stock maybe like XOM, maybe a stock also like Target, and let's take one more. Let's say you said, James, I normally look at stocks like Microsoft. Okay, so whether we have a public list of less than maybe 50 stocks or a personal list, let's see what it does. Now we come back to this, and now what you're going to see is that will load, and it's going to tell us which stocks are really showing, are they green or red moving averages, and what's the duration of time. Now, if we looked at this chart, why does this matter? Well, because if the investors by the way, could someone, for example, look at this and say these are the stocks in the sample portfolio? Yes. Could they say this example list is maybe a list I'm maybe considering for maybe potential entry? Could be. Now, if we take a look at this, which stocks are, for example, showing green moving averages? Now, if we said there's on the shorter term moving average, the 10, that is the only of the two moving averages that is green. That means it's a shorter term price reversal back to the upside, potentially. If the 20 period move, if you're seeing the 10 and the 20 green, well, now we have momentum and a trend. Example given, if we looked at the example, a stock of NEM, that's the one right here at 6 days ago, 7 on the 20 period moving average. We don't have a crossover today or yesterday or the previous day. That has not happened. But those moving averages are green. Okay. Now, if we pull this up also as well, you're going to see if we pull it up, what does it look like? There it is. Okay. So if we pull this up, we can also go back to counting the number of days that it's been really green. The change on the moving averages from red to green, the 20 period actually started first. And then in this case, the 10 period moving average went back to the upside. Now, that movement started down here. Now, a lot of times as investors, we like to make it really, really, really complicated. Question you got to ask yourself is, does it have to be? I mean, if it's moving, don't you think the moving average counter is probably going to be catching those moves? So what is the investor looking for? Well, if we go back to what we talked about first, we're looking for the 10-hole counter to really be something showing maybe in the last 1, 2, or 3 days. Something brand new. Now, if we went back to a different list and said, hey, James, I would like to go back to, let's say, a dividend and aristocrat list. Let's say if we looked at this. Now, this might not load for me because I'm actually on YouTube right now and it's going to take a sec to load. But wonder if you went back to a bigger list, dividend aristocrats. Now, remember, when we talk about dividends, they're not guaranteed. The company could change the dividend policy, right? Cut it completely, increase it, whatever. Now, if we looked at this list, and I just did right now the 10-hole counter, which of these stocks in the last maybe day or two have actually gone green in a one duration? Period. KBM, KMB, ES, ED, WMT, 2 days ago, ADP, etc. So that's how the investor, they're watching that first 1 or 2 days. Why? Because those are the stocks that are probably most close, well, they're probably the most closer to potential support. So what I want you to do is I want you to go out and I'm going to post this script in the description. I want you to put it on your side. I want you to start tracking those that are just coming up in the first 1, 2, or 3 days and see if it's helpful to actually track some of the stocks that could be going back up. Now, remember with what we discussed here today, all examples are just that, and I want you to go out and I want you to practice this. And also don't forget to subscribe to our Trader Talks channel right on YouTube. Okay, that way you can see all of our content as well. Want you to have a great weekend and go out and practice using these 10-hole counters and 20-hole counters and be looking for the description in the chat. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.